Hey everyone, tonight we drift into something hauntingly real. A time of whispers and suspicion. We're stepping into the life of an accused witch in 16th century England, not the broomstick flying kind from fairy tales, but a woman caught in the tightening grip of fear, superstition, and social control. Forget spells and black cats. This is the quiet terror of being watched, judged, and condemned. So before you settle in, take a moment to like the video and subscribe. Let the background hum guide you, and let's gently descend into this forgotten world together. The story begins in a forgotten village nestled deep within the rolling hills of 16th century England. The year is 1564, and the air is thick with mist, curling around crooked houses made of wood and stone. The earth beneath your feet is damp, always damp, because it rains here more often than not. The village is a patchwork of fields and narrow, muddy roads, where people are born, live, and die without ever truly leaving. The only sound you hear is the wind, whispering through the trees and across the thatched roofs, and the occasional bleat of a goat or the distant crow of a rooster. You know this place, its sounds, its rhythms, its people. Every morning, you wake with the first light and hear the call of roosters from the neighboring cottages, the low hum of your father's forge as he stokes the fire to shape iron, and the clink of the bucket as your mother draws water from the well. It's a simple life, one where everyone's tasks are the same, and no day feels too different from the one before. You wake early, help your mother knead dough, tend to the goats in the pen, and set the table for the evening meal. The village is your whole world, and there's no reason to believe anything could change that. But something is in the air now, something you can't name, something heavy and unfamiliar. It's a feeling, like a shadow lingering just at the edge of the village. Something you can't quite grasp but can feel in your bones. The whispers are starting to grow, small rumors shared in hushed tones as the sun sets behind the hills. There's talk of strange people, the old man who lives alone at the edge of the village. He's seen walking the path by himself, his back hunched, his eyes darting about as if he's constantly looking over his shoulder. They say he's cursed, that he speaks to no one, and his very presence brings misfortune. Some say the gods have turned their face from him, and that's why he's alone. Then there's Marjorie, the old woman who lives outside the village. She's always muttering about things beyond the sea, speaking of distant lands where no one has gone, where mysteries lie hidden beneath the waves. People say she's mad. There are rumors she's been touched by the gods, or worse, by something darker. But no one dares to question her, not even the priests, for fear that they too will fall under whatever curse she may carry. And there's Sarah, your friend, the one who's always sneaking off to taverns, eavesdropping on the old men and their stories. You laugh when she brings back her wild tales, but when she speaks of the plague, of the sickness that's creeping across the land and reaching closer every day, you start to feel that old sense of dread settle in your chest. Sarah whispers, "It's a curse, you know. The gods are angry, people are dying, and no one knows why." You laugh at her. There's always a story, always some rumor, but the seed of doubt is planted. A part of you can't shake the thought, maybe this time it's different. A few days later, things start to change. The air is thick with the weight of it. You're out in the field with your father and mother, working alongside them in the cool, early morning light. Your father is strong, as he always has been, his hands steady as he works the earth. The field is quiet, save for the rustling of the leaves and the distant calls of birds. You carry your usual load, helping in silence as you always do. But then you hear it, murmured by someone passing through the village. Margaret's sick. She's taken to her bed, and no one can rouse her. Your mother brushes it off. It's just a fever, a passing thing, child, nothing to worry about. But even she doesn't seem so sure anymore. And when it spreads, when others start falling ill too, and the fever doesn't leave, doesn't fade like it should, you begin to realize this is no ordinary illness. The whispers grow louder. They start to fill the corners of your world, creeping into your thoughts like shadows that refuse to leave. Your neighbor, Thomas, who is always so strong, so full of life, begins to cough. It's slow at first, just a slight wheeze in his chest, but by the next day, it's worse. His face turns pale, his breath comes in short bursts, his chest rattling with each cough. The fever overtakes him so fast that by the time you and your mother bring him water, he's already too weak to hold it. His hands tremble, his skin slick with sweat. It's nothing, your mother insists, though there's a tremor in her voice. Just a fever. He'll recover. But he doesn't. The fever doesn't pass. It never passes. By the end of the week, your father has caught it too. You watch as he goes from strong, capable man to a shadow of himself, sweating, shaking, unable to rise from the bed. His breath becomes ragged, wheezing, as if something is stealing the very air from his lungs. His cough is deep, a constant rattle in his chest, and you stay by his side, bringing him water, bringing him the herbs your mother always used, doing everything you can to ease his pain. But nothing works. On the third day, he's gone. It's so sudden. One moment, he's there, grasping for breath, his body trembling, and the next, he's still. The fire in his eyes has gone out, and the house is empty without him. The silence, thick and suffocating. You hold his hand, wishing for a miracle, but the world continues to turn. You're left in the quiet, your heart aching with a loss you don't know how to put into words. The sickness is relentless. By the next morning, your mother is sick too. You can see it in the way she moves, more deliberate, her hands shaking slightly as she prepares the meal. Her breath is shallow, and though she tries to hide it, you see the fear in her eyes. You've seen it before, in the way the villagers talk, the way the sickness spreads like wildfire, taking one life after another without mercy. It's just a fever, she says, but you don't believe her. You can see it now, in the way she trembles, in the way she looks at you like she knows she's next. You try to help, but your hands are shaking too. You fetch water, you bring the herbs, but your heart is heavy with the knowledge that it's too late. The fever takes her as quickly as it took your father. She tries to speak, but her voice is just a rasp, lost in the sound of her own struggles. She tries to sit up, but her body refuses. By the second night, she's gone to Dot, and now, you are alone. There is no time for grief. The village is already changing, slipping into a kind of quiet panic. The sickness spreads like a shadow, a wave of fear that grips everyone. The streets are silent. No one dares to leave their homes unless absolutely necessary. The village is slowly being emptied out, and it's like something in the very air is shifting. You walk through the town, and everyone avoids your gaze. You hear the whispers. She's the one who survived. She's the one who's been touched by the gods. She's cursed. The weight of their gaze is too much to bear. Their fear is palpable. It's not just the plague that has them frightened anymore. It's you. You survived when no one else did. And that makes you a danger, a symbol of something people can't understand. A sickness isn't just a sickness anymore. It's a curse. And you, the one who lived, are the reason it's here. She's the one the gods have punished, they whisper behind closed doors. You begin to feel the walls closing in. You know what they're saying. You can see it in the way they avoid you, in the way they cross themselves when you pass, which they mutter under their breath, just loud enough for you to hear. You don't know what to do. You only know that this illness, this plague, is no longer the biggest danger. Now, it's the fear. It's the accusations. It's the hunt that's begun, one for a witch, a scapegoat for the god's wrath. And soon, you'll learn that surviving the plague is only the beginning of the fight for your life. After the plague has taken everything from you, every single day feels like a burden you must carry, no matter how small. The air itself seems heavy, as though the world is trying to smother you. You can't escape it. The weight of grief settles over your shoulders like an invisible cloak, one that grows heavier with each task you must do. Your days begin the same as they always have. When the first light of dawn breaks through the small window of your cottage, and the familiar sound of roosters in the distance fills the silence. But now, silence is all you know. The house is still, far too still. The smell of cooking, of warmth, of your parents' laughter, it's all gone. Instead, the air is thick with dust, stale from disuse, and the world feels distant. The tasks are simple, but they are never simple anymore. Even the act of fetching water from the well, something you've done 100 times, has become a soul-draining chore. You grip the wooden handle of the bucket, the roughness of it biting into your skin as you walk the well-worn path to the village well. Your feet sink into the soft earth, your boots sinking into the deep, muddy ruts left by years of use. Every step feels like you're walking through the quicksand of memory, dragging the weight of everything lost with each movement. The bucket is empty now, and it feels impossibly heavy. When you pull the rope, it groans under the pressure, like an old beast still clinging to life. The rope creaks in your hands, and your fingers strain to grip it tightly. The rough fibers cutting into your palms. The water splashes as it fills the bucket, but the weight of it is overwhelming. Each inch that the bucket rises feels like lifting a mountain. The coldness of the water against your skin feels sharp and biting, and yet the relief when the bucket reaches the top is short-lived, followed by the burden of carrying it back. Then there's the work with the goats. It's not just a chore. It's a reminder that you are alone in the world. Your father used to take care of them, a task that had always been simple for him. But now, with him gone, it's left to you. You enter the small, ramshackle barn behind the house, the familiar smell of manure and stale hay filling your nose. The wooden posts creak as you move, and the entire place feels too cold, too silent without the bustle of your father tending the animals. The goats are skittish, bleating loudly as they sense your presence, their wide eyes following you with a strange mix of curiosity and fear. They nudge you with their heads, but it's not affectionate. It's almost demanding. The buckets you use to feed them are chipped, worn from years of constant use. You fill them with whatever grain is left, but it's never enough. Their coats are matted with dirt, the once soft wool now rough and tangled. You try to brush them, but the brush is worn thin, the bristles barely effective. You run your fingers through their wool, but it only reminds you of the life that's no longer here, the laughter that once filled these walls when your father worked. You feel a pang of regret, the heavy weight of neglect, but there's no time to dwell on it. The goats need you. The work is mindless. You feed them, water them, and clean out the stalls, but even these small tasks feel like mountains to climb now. Every time you leave the barn, you feel the cold weight of the world on your shoulders again. It's the same with cooking. What used to be an act of love A shared experience with your mother is now a cold, solitary task. The fire in the hearth is weak, just a few smouldering embers from the night before. You kneel down, carefully prodding at the fire with an iron poker, coaxing the flames back to life. The logs crackle as they begin to burn, their scent filling the room with the smell of ash and wood. You take out what little meat you have left, your father's hunting supply, now nearly gone. It's old, the edges of the meat starting to turn sour, but there's nothing you can do. You cut away the spoiled parts, though there's little left to salvage. The smell of the rotten flesh makes your stomach turn, but you don't have a choice. You rinse it in cold water, trying to ignore the slimy texture before throwing it into the pot. The vegetables are old too. You dig through the remaining sacks of dried herbs, pulling out what's left, some wilted thyme, a handful of rosemary, their once bright green leaves, now brown and brittle. You chop them with a blunt knife, the blade barely sharp enough to make the clean cuts you need. You throw the herbs in with the meat and stir the concoction, but the broth is thin, nearly flavorless. You set the pot over the fire and wait. The waiting is what feels like the longest part. Your stomach growls, but you know there's little to hope for in the meal. It's just something to fill the void, to keep you from collapsing in hunger. You make the bread, but it's hard and dry, the crust too thick, the inside too tough. It doesn't taste like bread, it tastes like survival. You eat alone, hunched over the small wooden table that once served as a gathering spot for your family. But now, it's just you, eating in silence, with only the distant whisper of wind outside to fill the void. The night is the hardest part. After the last embers in the hearth die down and the darkness settles over the house, you lie awake, staring at the ceiling. You try to sleep, but the weight of the silence is overwhelming. The wind howls outside, and the house groans with the sounds of its own age, but inside it's dead quiet. Your father's tools hang unused, collecting dust. The shelves, once filled with jars of herbs and ingredients, are now empty, their contents long consumed. You pull the blanket tight around you, trying to feel some semblance of warmth, but it's not enough. Your thoughts race. You see your mother's face as she lay sick, her eyes once bright, now dull with fever. You remember the feeling of your father's hand, strong and warm, now cold beneath the dirt. The night stretches on, endless, filled with memories you can't seem to escape. The loneliness claws at you like a sharp edge, digging into your chest. Sleep comes eventually, but it's a restless, fitful sleep, full of fragments of dreams that don't make sense. You wake, gasping for air, and the cold sweat that coats your skin reminds you that you're not just surviving, you're surviving in isolation, alone in a world that has already forgotten you. The village has changed. No longer a place of warmth and safety, it's now a place of cold eyes and distrust. You walk through the streets, keeping your head down, the weight of the whispers following you. The villagers avoid you. When you pass, you hear the soft murmurs, the fearful glances. You feel their eyes on your back. You know what they're saying. She's the last one left. She survived. There's something wrong with her. Everywhere you go, the tension is palpable. The village that once seemed like a community now feels like a prison, and you are its prisoner. No one will meet your gaze for long. They cross the street to avoid you. You're the one who survived, and that's what makes you dangerous. They believe you have something to do with the plague, that you brought it, that the gods have cursed you for some unknown reason. And it's not long before the accusations begin. After days of whispering, after weeks of avoidance, the atmosphere in the village begins to change for good. The fear has settled in like a fog, creeping through every corner, every crevice of your life. The once friendly faces of the villagers now look past you, their expressions sharp and wary, as if the very air around you is cursed. But it's not just the whispers that are new, there's something else, something heavier, the weight of judgment. You feel it in the way they treat you. The simple act of walking into the village market now feels like a trial. The bread and vegetables you once exchanged with friendly faces are now shoved at you without a smile, no pleasantries. It's as if your very presence is a crime they can't yet pin down. The world has changed. Everything feels off. It begins when you're out in the village square one morning. The sun is weak through the mist, casting long shadows that stretch over the cobblestones. You're hurrying toward the market stall, your arms heavy with baskets, when you hear a sharp, familiar voice, "Alina." You stop dead in your tracks, the voice cutting through the murmurs of the other villagers. It's Alice again. She's standing near the butcher's stall, arms folded, eyes cold and unblinking as she stares at you. "What's this? I hear about you being the only one left, the only one to survive." Her voice is thin, tight with a quiet fury, and suddenly the marketplace goes still. The small crowd that was gathered, speaking in low voices just moments before, grows silent, watching you, their eyes now trained on you with suspicion. You feel your heart pounding, the weight of their gaze suffocating you. Your mouth feels dry as you answer, your voice a little weaker than you intend. I don't know what you mean, Alice, but your words sound hollow even to you." Alice takes a step forward, her gaze unflinching. "Oh, you know exactly what I mean." She pauses, the air growing thick with tension. "Everyone else died, but you... you're still here. And no one survives a plague like that unless they've made a deal with the devil." Her words ring in your ears, and the world seems to freeze for a moment. The crowd remains silent, but you can see it, the way they're looking at you, the way their faces tighten in fear, like you've just become something they can no longer understand. Alice's voice is the first public accusation, but you know it won't be the last. The next days are a blur. You go back to your house and lock the door behind you, your hands shaking as you turn the key. You sit in the dark, just waiting for the next knock, for the next shout, the next accusation to come crashing down. It feels like the walls are closing in on you. The sun rises and sets, and still nothing seems real. You've become the outsider now, stranger, witch cursed, dangerous. You try to go about your routine. The goats still need feeding, the hearth needs tending, but every time you step outside, you feel their eyes on you. The whispers in the street follow you like shadows. "She's the one who survived." You can hear the words before they even form. The cold wind seems to carry them. One afternoon, you pass by a small group of women near the market, their voices just loud enough for you to hear. "It's her. She must have caused it. She must have cursed us. She's the reason they're dead." You want to scream at them, to tell them the truth, to shout that you never asked for any of this, that the gods didn't spare you, they simply left you behind. But you say nothing. You keep walking, your heart heavy, your throat tight. You can't fight them. You can't fight the fear they have for you. It's when you see a group of children playing by the well that you know you've lost them. One of the little boys, no older than 5, looks up and spots you. His eyes go wide with fear. He runs to his mother, shouting, "She's here." The witch is here. It's when you see a group of children playing by the well that you know you've lost them. One of the little boys, no older than 5, looks up and spots you. His eyes go wide with fear. He runs to his mother, shouting, "She's here. The witch is here." His mother whips around, her face stricken with horror. She grabs the child by the arm, pulling him close. She glares at you with such venom, you almost take a step back. "Stay away from my children," she hisses. "I know what you are." The fear has spread now, like a wildfire no one can stop. You can feel it in the air, thick with suspicion. The next day, the priests come. You can hear their heavy footsteps approaching your door. They don't knock, they don't need to. They know you're inside. You are the only one left in the village, and you are the cause of everything. When they arrive, you stand frozen, the cold stone of the house pressing against your back. There's no escaping them now. The priest, Father Roderick, stands in the doorway, his face hard, eyes cold and unblinking. "You know why we're here," he says, his voice low, like a murmur of wind. "The village has spoken. You are accused of witchcraft. The plague didn't take you because you were innocent. The plague didn't take you because you made a pact with forces far darker than you can imagine. You want to speak, to defend yourself, to tell them the truth, but there is no truth they'll believe. It's just the gods testing me," you say weakly, your voice cracked with exhaustion. "I don't know why I survived, but it was not my doing. It was not a curse. It was just fate." Father Roderick's eyes narrow. "Your fate has been sealed. The village demands justice." It doesn't take long for the word to spread. The next morning, the villagers begin to gather, men and women. Some with children, some elderly, all standing at the edge of your cottage, whispering behind their hands, pointing eyes wide with fear. The accusations are now public. They've already decided who you are. One woman, Beatrice, steps forward. Her face is pale, her hands shaking as she holds up a small bundle of holy herbs. She's the one who brought the sickness. She's the one who cursed us. We must rid ourselves of her before it's too late. The crowd murmurs in agreement, the tension growing thicker, until it feels like the whole village is holding its breath. The women begin to chant prayers under their breath, as though invoking the gods to bring about your judgment. You stand frozen in the doorway, your heart racing, your thoughts racing, but your body paralyzed by fear. There is no escape now. The fear has become real. The whispers have turned into something more, a hunt for you. Days bleed into weeks, and with each new passing moment, you can feel the weight of the village's suspicion growing heavier. You've become a ghost, an object of fear, a symbol of something dark, and the village has become a place where whispers are louder than words. The accusations are no longer subtle. They are as loud and definitive as the church bells ringing through the village. Everyone knows you are the reason the plague came. Everyone believes that you're cursed, and that it is only a matter of time before the gods take their vengeance on the land. You can't leave the house anymore. You can't walk through the market or pass by the well without feeling eyes tracking your every step, without hearing the muffled voices of people talking about you behind closed doors. The fear has transformed the village into something unrecognizable, like a spider's web, quiet, sticky, and inevitable. They have decided that you are the spider. The day the villagers come to your door, you know what's happening. You've heard their voices growing louder, the muttered prayers, the fearful shuffling of boots on dirt. You don't have to open the door to know what's on the other side. You take a deep breath, trying to steady your racing heart, but you already know. It's only a matter of time before the truth of their fear bursts out into the open. The moment the door creaks open, the fear rushes in. You stand frozen, staring at the mob that stands before you. The faces you once knew, people you called neighbors, are now filled with something darker, rage and fear. You've been cursed, says Alice, stepping forward. She doesn't look at you like she once did, like a friend, but as an enemy, something that must be wiped out. Her voice is raw, shaking with a mixture of fear and hatred. You're the one who caused all of this, Alina. The plague, the deaths, all of it. You've brought the wrath of the gods down upon us, and we will not stand for it any more. You want to speak, to tell them that this isn't your fault, that you didn't bring the plague, but when you open your mouth, all that comes out is a shaky breath. What could you possibly say? There's nothing you can say that they'll believe. The villagers are silent, but their eyes speak louder than words. They are waiting for you to confess. They are waiting for you to admit what they already believe. You retreat into your home as the crowd grows louder outside. The doors are bolted shut, but you know it doesn't matter. They're coming for you. They'll break the door down if they have to, and when they do, they'll drag you out into the open. They'll mark you for what you are. A witch. The thought of it shakes you to your core. It doesn't matter that you've never done anything wrong, that you didn't ask for the plague, that you didn't choose to survive while everyone else perished. None of it matters. The village has already made up its mind. For the first time since your parents died, you feel truly alone. The silence is deafening, pressing in on all sides. You can't escape it. You can't escape them. You curl into yourself, trying to shut out the world, but the world is at your doorstep, and it's demanding you pay for something you didn't do. By the time the sun sinks beneath the horizon, you know what will happen. The priest, Father Roderick, is coming to declare judgment. You've seen him already, standing outside with the villagers, holding the book of prayers, his eyes hard and cold. He's seen what they see. He's already decided what must be done. You spend the next hours pacing in the small confines of your house. You try to ignore the pounding of your heart. You try to focus on the small tasks, the quiet, mundane things, filling the water jug, tending the cold fire, but it all feels insignificant. Your hands shake. Your chest is tight. There's no escape now. The moon is high when you hear the knock at the door. It's soft at first, hesitant, like someone unsure if they want to hear what's behind the door. But you know the knock is final. When you open the door, Father Roderick stands there, his face grim, his mouth set in a thin line. He holds a piece of parchment in his hand, the letter of judgment, which he places in your hands with the stiffness of someone who's already given up all hope. Alina, you are accused of witchcraft, of bringing the plague upon our village. The evidence is clear, and we cannot ignore it any longer. His voice is unwavering, cold as stone. You are to be brought to the village square at dawn, where the villagers will cast their judgment upon you. If the gods deem you innocent, then you will be freed. If not, the punishment will be severe. A sickening wave of dread washes over you. Your legs feel like lead, but you stand tall. There's nothing you can do. The next day, as the first rays of sunlight creep over the horizon, the village square fills with people, all of them watching, waiting to see what will happen. The whispers have now turned into a roar in your mind, drowning out everything else. You are marched out in front of the crowd, your hands bound with rough twine. Everyone is there. Every face you once knew, every person you once thought of as a neighbor. But now they're all silent, their eyes cold, filled with fear. They won't speak, but their judgment is clear. You're pushed into the center of the square. The sun's heat suddenly unbearable as it beats down on your head. The priests stand before you, and they are the ones who will determine your fate. Father Roderick holds the parchment in his hand. Now crumpled and torn, the ink faded by fear. He speaks, but his voice is a blur in your ears. The crowd is too loud, too focused on you. You feel the pressure building, the realization of what's about to happen crashing in on you. The sun is just beginning to climb into the sky when you are dragged from the small, lonely space that has been your home. The air is thick with tension, and as you step into the open square, your legs are unsteady, your hands are bound tightly, the rope biting into your skin. But the pain is nothing compared to what you feel inside. The crowd is already gathering, murmuring in low voices. The whispers, like 1,000 bees, buzz in your ears, each word searing into your mind. Witch, cursed, devil's bargain. The words hang in the air, too many to count. The same words you've heard in hushed tones, now echoing loudly around you. Your stomach churns as you step forward, eyes glued to the ground. You can't bring yourself to look up at the people who are about to decide your fate, but you feel their eyes on you. Every single pair of eyes. Cold, hostile. There's a small platform in the middle of the square. You know it well. It's where the village gathers for celebrations, where the children once danced and played, where you once smiled, thinking life was simple. But today, it is where you are to be judged. You are made to stand before them, your body shaking, your heart pounding in your chest. You don't know whether it's the fear or the cold sweat pouring down your back. But it's as though the world has narrowed to just the people around you, people you once called friends, neighbors, family, and now they are strangers, with the power to decide whether you live or die. Father Roderick steps forward, his long black robe trailing behind him like a shadow. His eyes are cold as he speaks, his voice carrying across the square with the authority of someone who believes in the righteousness of what they're doing. Alina, you stand before us accused of witchcraft. The village has spoken. You are the last to survive the plague, and this, they say, is no accident. It is the will of the devil. You have made a pact with forces far darker than any of us can comprehend. The words hang in the air, thick and suffocating. You want to scream, to tell him it's not true, to say you didn't ask for this, that you didn't survive by choice. But the words catch in your throat. You can't speak. What's the point? Your gaze flickers to the crowd, and that's when you see it, the hatred, the fear, the judgment in their eyes. The men stand at the back, their arms crossed, faces set in grim lines. The women stand near the front, whispering to each other, some of them with children in their arms, holding them close, as if trying to protect them from the evil they believe is standing before them. Your stomach churns with sickening realization. They've already made their decision. It's not about the truth anymore. It's about fear. Fear of what you represent. Father Roderick continues, his voice steady. The evidence is clear. You have been seen acting strangely, avoiding the company of others, and, most damning of all, you survived the plague while others did not. You are an omen, Alina, a dark omen sent to destroy us. His voice is calm to calm. It's as if this has become routine, as if he's done this countless times before. And in a way, you realize he has. We call upon the village to witness this trial. Father Roderick says, you have heard the accusations. Now, let us proceed to test the witch. The words hang in the air, and suddenly, Everything begins to move in a blur. You are forced to kneel before them. Your body shakes, but you can't stop it. The weight of the crowd is too much. You hear the creaking of wood as the priest's assistant steps forward, holding a small bundle of herbs, the ones you remember from your mother's old collection. They were used for curing fevers, or so you were taught. But now, they're part of this ritual of damnation. Father Roderick raises his hand, and the crowd falls silent. We will test her. If she is truly innocent, the waters will not touch her. A small basin of water is placed before you, cool and clear. The villagers stare at you, their faces a mix of fear and eager anticipation. The water is cold against your skin, the chill of it seeping into your bones as the assistant presses your hands into the basin, binding them loosely to the edge. The people begin to murmur again, their eyes shifting between the priest and you. If she is truly a witch, the water will react. Father Roderick intones, his voice is like a hammer, striking the final blow. Your heart is pounding in your chest. The cold water laps against your wrists, and for a moment, everything is still. You don't know if you believe in this test, in this ritual of divine judgment. But the moment feels final. The crowd waits, their breath collectively held, as you watch the ripples in the water. Nothing happens. No burning, no boiling, just the simple movement of water as it shifts beneath your hands. The silence stretches agonizingly long. What will happen next? And then, without warning, a voice breaks through the tension. She's guilty. The words come from one of the men standing near the back of the crowd. Jonas, the blacksmith. His voice is sharp, cutting through the air like a blade. She's been cursed. She survived when no one else could. That's proof enough for me. The murmurs begin again, louder this time. Guilty, witch. The words are like thunder, reverberating through the square. Father Roderick does not hesitate. We will now proceed with the judgment. You want to scream. You want to tell him how wrong he is, how everything about this is a terrible mistake. But your voice is nothing. It means nothing now. The crowd roars with fear, their faces twisted with hatred. Your knees begin to shake as the executioners step forward, their faces hidden behind dark hoods, their eyes cold, unfeeling. Your heart is pounding in your chest, but you know it doesn't matter. It's too late. You feel the first hot tear slip down your cheek, but you quickly wipe it away. There's no time for grief. There's no time for fear anymore. You're a condemned woman, and this is how your story ends. The executioners seize you, pulling your arms tight as they march you toward the wooden stake at the center of the square. The ground feels like it's sinking beneath you, and the world around you becomes a blur. The villagers watch with eager eyes, some holding their children, as though the fire will somehow cleanse them, protect them from whatever it is that you represent. They've forgotten that you were once one of them, that you were once just a girl, a daughter, with dreams of living a peaceful life. Now, you are nothing more than a symbol of fear. The ropes around your wrists are tied to the stake, your arms pulled tightly behind you. You can see the flames rising in the distance, the crackling sound of the fire growing louder. The air smells of burning wood, and the heat from the fire begins to kiss your skin. The villagers chant in unison, their words sounding like an incantation, like a prayer to something dark. You close your eyes, the firelight flickering across your eyelids. The world has narrowed to this single moment. The air thick with the sounds of chanting, the rustling of the crowd, the smell of smoke and burning wood. This is the end. You stand there, the fire drawing nearer, and in this final moment, Your thoughts flicker like dying embers. You think of your parents, of the love and warmth they gave you, and how life once seemed so simple. You think of the days you spent in the fields with your mother, tending to the goats, helping her with the chores. You think of the laughter, the shared meals, the small joys of childhood that now feel like another life. You think of how suddenly everything changed, how a simple disease wiped out your family, how you were left behind, a survivor in a world that didn't know how to cope with someone like you. You think of how everyone turned against you, how they saw you as the cause of everything wrong, how you became their scapegoat. For a moment, you feel the rage burning in your chest. You want to scream at them, to tell them that you didn't choose this, that you didn't ask for any of it. But there's no one left who will listen to you now. There's only the fire. The fire, the flames licking closer and closer. The flames reach your feet first. They are warm, then hot, and finally unbearable. The pain is blinding, searing through your flesh, but in the chaos of it all, you feel a strange, detached calm settle over you. There is no more fight left in you. The last shred of fear dissipates. Your body screams, but you cannot hear it anymore. You are already becoming part of the smoke, part of the ash that rises into the sky. You are nothing but a memory now, a face in the crowd, a figure of suspicion and fear. There's no one left who will remember you as you were, a daughter, a girl with dreams. They will only remember you as the witch who brought the plague. And so Elena's story ends. The flames that consumed her will not burn away the fear that led to her demise. They will not erase the horrors of the past or the brutality that accused and destroyed the innocent. She is gone, but the legacy of suspicion remains. This is the life of a girl accused of witchcraft, a life that began with innocence, filled with dreams of a future that was stolen from her, a life caught in the web of paranoia, superstition, and mob mentality, a life that was torn apart by the very people she once called family, by the very community that should have protected her. This is the fate of so many, the accused, the wrongly convicted, the scapegoats of history. Elena's story is one of countless others who met a cruel, unjust end because of their survival, because of their difference, because they were seen as a threat in a world full of fear and superstition. The flames that consumed Elena's body will never burn away the fear that still exists today in many corners of the world. Fear of the unknown, fear of what we don't understand. And sometimes that fear is enough to erase lives entirely, leaving behind only ashes and whispers. And that brings us to the end of the life story of a woman marked not by magic, but by fear, accused by neighbors, by silence, by the weight of a world that needed someone to blame. Her days passed under suspicion, her nights in quiet dread, until the end of her pitiful story came. I'll leave the video running a little longer, with the background hum carrying on softly, so you can stay asleep, undisturbed, and let the echoes of the past fade gently into dreams. Good night.